let's see. So I'd like to call the meeting of the June meeting for the Eureka Energy Committee to order. I'd like to call for attendance.
Committee Member Herrmann. Committee Member Dukes.
Here.
Committee Member C. Musgrave.
Here.
Committee Member E. Musgrave.
Here.
Committee Member Winterson.
Here.
And Committee Member Chapman. Thank you.
Right. And I'll just read the land acknowledgement now. The land that Eureka rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Jowjiji. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments remove the Wiyot and other indigenous peoples from the land and threaten to destroy their cultural practices. The city of Eureka acknowledge the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, and as well as their future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates the city's commitment to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. Okay. And I'd like to request that we approve the minutes for the last meeting.
You need to ask for a
Emotion.
motion. Thank you.
Yeah. Would someone make a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Second.
Right. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
I'm abstaining because I wasn't here.
Oh.
You were,
So
right,
I
you were-
assume
Yeah, you weren't here.
you guys are okay, but
I just wanted to double check because I hadn't heard your voice.
okay.
Right.
You will hear my voice.
All right. Is there any public comment? All right. Thanks a lot, public.
Yeah, good old public.
Okay, so we have a report on our agenda. I guess we're not going to be able to receive right at this moment. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This was we had an item to elect a secretary. It's something that's in our bylaws. I think we've had some difficulty with getting someone that was interested in it. Let's see. So, because we tabled it till now, do we? So I guess the question is, do we think we can kind of address this again, or are we going to try to table it for another month? What do you think? What do you think, Deborah?
Make sure you're speaking into your mic, please.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm in favor of it.
Yeah.
For one huge reason, and that is that I have been caught having forgotten things that I've committed to do, and when I committed to do them by. Yeah. And so I think Jessica's formal minutes are great as far as they go, but it doesn't give us a detailed record of what we've decided to do other than formal agenda items. And I don't know if anybody else is interested in the position. If it does come to pass, I'm willing to continue doing it. And I believe in this enough that I will continue taking notes and sending them to Kelly just for my own benefit. And then if other people get caught not keeping commitments, not my fault.
Right. And
Is that clear enough?
Yeah, and I would say it's helped me because it's just kind of a reminder for whether or not I've had said I would do something for the next meeting. I mean, if I wasn't already the vice president, I would have gone for it. Oh, I'm sorry. You could say something there, George?
Well, I like the idea, but I'm terrible at taking comprehensive notes myself. So I hate to advocate for something that I couldn't offer to do. So that's my quandary there.
Oh,
Sorry, y'all.
No, it's all right. So, do we have anything I need to do to recognize Beth as the
If you
president
wanna
now?
finish this discussion, that's fine, and then she can take over on the next item.
Okay. Yeah. So, I guess just to summarize, Deborah has said that she would be willing to continue to serve us as the committee secretary if we don't have somebody else that is interested in taking up the role. And I mean, given we kind of were in the market for new members anyway, I guess we'll kind of look into it next time we get somebody else.
Do we need a motion to elect Deborah as secretary?
Oh,
Can I do that since I'm not
Oh.
technically? All right. I would like to put a motion to elect Deborah as secretary of the Eureka Energy Committee.
I am seconded.
oh,
No additional discussion? No additional discussion?
Oh, yeah.
all right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's motion seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I second it.
Eh,
Okay.
as long as Deborah's willing, we got to verify that.
Oh, right,
Before
right.
we,
I just
before
said,
we-
I
before
just,
we just wanted to make
no,
sure.
I just said I was
Yeah,
willing to
okay,
do it and
okay,
that I'm going to do it
Okay.
just for my own benefit.
Last exit before a freeway or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Before a bridge or whatever.
Right. Anyway, so everyone in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Okay. So pass there.
Okay. Sorry about being late. I have a crazy work project right now. I ran out of there.
Understood.
Okay. So we did that. And did the approval of minutes already happen?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Oh, Kelly, the objectives and goals, did you happen to print that out? I forgot to. I was going to.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's my own.
Oh, yeah, he's not hearing you through the mic.
Oh. Sorry, my bad. I am not finding it. Just pulled myself away from the agenda. Cool. Thank you. Sorry, hang on. I'm having technical difficulties. All right. Okay, so the objective and goals, just to throw it out there, were decided on by committee members that for the most part are not sitting anymore other than Chris, Deborah, and I. So I think it's fine if we want to adjust them. Some of these, when I reread them, didn't totally make sense. So I think us just sitting here and kind of chatting about what goals we'd like to attempt to do. Some of these I feel like really good jumping off points. So I figured I'd take notes and then send this to Kelly, and maybe Kelly could send it to everybody, and then we could start working on these as a group. So thank you for bringing this forward, Kelly. Okay, so you guys want to start with A and just kind of go down and we can discuss them. And
Well, I don't have a copy in front of me, but if you want to just go ahead and read it.
I was going to read them each out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, so A is do more to educate or rehabilitate pedestrians and bicyclists who endanger themselves and others by not following traffic laws. I guess this one's hard for me because,
Seems outside of our area.
yeah, I don't know.
Immediately.
Also, it seems like blaming pedestrians and bicyclists for getting killed by cars. So I don't know about that.
That's the thing to do anymore.
Yeah, I feel a little uncomfortable with A. So maybe we'll just leave that one out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, sometimes people are at fault, but
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
But it doesn't necessarily come under the purview of
Yeah.
the Energy Committee.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's the main thing.
So consider companies' cultures and ethics in awarding contracts. That's another one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see that as being under our perusal. So
Ethics.
not hearing any objections. I'm gonna cross that one off. But I did see, I swear, I saw some on this list that did look like they'd be really good for us. Okay.
And I know you're crossing them off, but when you get to the end, you're gonna have to make a motion about which ones you'd like to remove. Have it seconded. Have it passed.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Discussion, catching some new people up.
Yeah.
So we're just, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just email Kelly the edited list so that she can send it to everyone, and then we can start thinking about this for like how we approach these.
Passing. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of an interesting point, that last one, because last month we just approved of going over to our CEA's repower.
Disapproved it?
Well, we approved it.
Oh,
yeah.
we just
Unanimously.
approved it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is something like that we already are doing, sort of considering the ethical consequences of the purchase that we make, I guess.
Yeah, I just know.
I mean,
Working-
honestly, I would
working in-
agree
yeah.
the language there is unclear and how we would achieve that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get the sentiment, and I think it's a good one. But I know from working in procurement that it's complicated, and I'd hate to step on procurement's toes. Seeing as how I work in procurement, and I don't like when people step on my toes. But I mean, if somebody comes up with something that they want to suggest, that seems great. But okay, publicize the many energy-saving, sustainable steps the city of Eureka is already taking, which will encourage residents and business owners to follow suit. And I mean, some residents and business owners could already be doing things, so I don't know that we need to add that. But
That is something that's come up every once in a while. When we were going over the that money that we got for charging, that's going to be going on in the next couple of years, we did talk a little bit about putting that in the city newsletter. Or
I think that's a good
sort of
idea. I like this one a lot.
Kind of push that one out a little bit.
I was thinking about this one. I really like this one.
I like this one too, and I can tell you that since I've been sitting on the RCEA Community Advisory Committee, which has been a real eye-opener, one of the things they do, one of their purposes, is to publicize things like repower. So I think the more we get out there, what the city is doing, the better it is. And we all have circles of friends individually that we can publicize things to, but we can also do things as a committee. You know, we could write a my word. We could write a letter to the editor of Loco or the Journal. We could do something praising the city and enumerating what we're doing, what we as a city are doing, and what they as city staff are doing. And I think the idea of it being a role for individuals and business owners in the city is a big deal.
I think publicizing it is good too. I like the idea of publicizing it because
Yeah, that's
kind of letting folks know like where exactly the different things will be located. And I don't know if we want to wait until after they're located when it comes to the charging stations, but letting folks know charging stations, and trying to think of other things. I think
solar panels on
solar panels was and what is that
solar
other
panels
one?
are not
Battery backup
quite the
systems.
big deal
and-
they used to be, but
Yeah.
I think anything positive that the city's doing, the more we can publicize it, the better it'll be for everybody.
Okay, so that one sounds like something we should flesh out and that we all are pretty on board with. So put a little star next to it. Okay, the next one, focus streetlights for pedestrian safety, i.e. not just on one side of the street. I don't know anything about this one.
Yeah, it feels like there was kind of some politicization of the process for how they're changing street lights a couple years ago. That maybe that's pretty quiet now. It seems like people are not quite as
Not sure.
pumped up about that as they were.
I don't know.
I don't have any memory of that one.
I'm gonna cross it out. I'm not really sure
can
how that
you-
applies to us
Can
anyway.
you speak to that, Kelly?
I remember Nancy worked for Caltrans, and she had some of those kind of pedestrian. Maybe that was more her
Oh.
Oh, that could be.
realm
Okay.
that she could have gone into detail on. But I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head. Yeah.
Well, there's some changes with the lighting technology we were using that had some political blowback that kind of made its way to us. I think basically we moved from like a lower output street light, I think. Tech, is that... Am I completely off base here?
No, building codes have passed like a night sky lighting, but I don't know if that's in right of ways or if that's just on buildings.
Oh, okay.
I maybe
That might
that's
be
what
what
you're
I'm
thinking
thinking
of.
of. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm
and
drawing a blank on that one.
all right, I'm gonna cross that one out because we don't know anything about it. Okay. Next one, work with Humboldt Waste Management to publicize and educate residents and businesses about the new state mandated food waste composting. So question, do we have the ability for people to compost yet within city limits?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think we do we? So let's leave that on there because I think that's really important. And while for
Connected energy though.
Yeah, that's what I was
That
just
was-
Yeah.
thinking.
oh, that's definitely connected to energy. Composting, most assuredly.
Okay.
So when
Do you feel like there's a connection there?
so there's the waste that goes, so if it's not composted, then it goes to the dump, and then dump trucks have to then take the waste and out of the area a lot of times. So
Right.
that's energy related. And then beyond that, when you are composting at home, you are releasing CO2s into the atmosphere, versus if we have like a composting site, which I know they are Humboldt Waste
Interesting.
Management and the city of Eureka are working on developing,
Yeah.
then you're capturing the CO2. So
Way
this is-
past the state mandated deadline.
Yeah, I mean the
Way
state mandated
past.
deadline, they didn't offer money with that deadline, so I do understand.
Is that the kind of...
It's tricky.
Is there like stuff in the cap about that?
I would think so.
I don't
because
think
we-
there's anything specific. Well, from the most recent version of the cap, the hypothetical cap,
Yeah.
doesn't have anything specific about that.
Okay.
But it will affect funding at some point if it doesn't get complied with.
Okay, I think that is something I'd be interested in investigating.
I think
as
we
best
should keep
can.
that because I'm kind of with you. I'm willing to attach the label energy to almost anything.
I think that one's very related to energy. Primarily, I mean, you can say the emitted CO2, not so much, but the cars that are taking
No,
our
I
compost,
I get it. I get it.
that is related. Okay, install level 2 EV chargers on utility poles. Is that happening? I feel like in that report, that was. I know that we're doing the level 2 chargers in
Sorry, I didn't
parking
wanna
spots, but
get in the way.
was the utility pole something the city of Eureka was looking into?
I don't think so because you have to drop a meter and a panel and they all have to be. So I don't think the city lights were something we've looked into.
That makes
We
sense.
spoke
This
about
was-
it. Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
well, yeah, I remember we spoke about that briefly with Mike Abcali a couple meetings ago, I think. And I think the idea was that there's some poles that have less voltage that they're using, and there's a little bit of extra we could use, but it's like that amount would be like a trickle charger. It wouldn't be an actual full EV charger. I think that's
I think the
point that
idea
he made.
behind those is to put them in neighborhoods and not. So I guess there is like a question of cost versus benefit.
That was my suggestion because I attended a webinar that had a bunch of small cities and what they were doing for energy-related activities, and one of them had chargers on light poles. And one of the things they were talking about was that there was extra power in the light poles, particularly since they've gone to LEDs. And according to this webinar, it was just going to be a piece of cake. You just plug in a car to the light pole and, you know, everybody's happy. There clearly is more to it than that. But
Yeah.
I was the one who brought that up, and it was, you know, a wild hair that I got from a webinar.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea. I don't know whether it's doable or not.
If it was our utility, that would be one thing. But since it's run by PG&E, it's more complicated because they want a meter and charge you for all of it, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we haven't got there yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should
But-
we just leave it on the list but put it toward the bottom?
I think it'd probably be good to vote on all of them again, right? Get a priority once we have a list. So yeah, might as well leave it on there and we can.
Yeah, and
Let's leave it on there.
when we set priorities, we can make it a lower priority
Yeah,
if we want
that sounds
to.
good. Okay. Establish an adopt a light program to pay for maintenance, perhaps through neighborhood watch or community organizations. I understand.
I don't remember anything about that either.
I don't know why we. I think,
Yeah, I
that
think
the
that's
city's, I don't
touching
know.
back on that street lighting
All right, I'm gonna get
kind
rid of that.
issue that came up.
Improve street markings, especially crosswalk. I'm crossing that out.
As a resident of H Street, yay!
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I know you personally did it, Kelly. I love the 2 lanes. I love the bike lane.
Yeah.
I love
really
the fact
good.
that the kids are not having to dodge cars to cross to the high school.
It makes me slow down.
Good.
Yeah, I definitely
One
slow down.
sinner repented.
Yeah, well, it was hard when you're on a 3-lane. It's hard not to start speeding, and I try not to, but it's hard not to.
Yep.
And now it's like just the very first time I drove on the road, I just immediately went slower.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's
Yeah, I've
just-
talked to other friends that live on H Street that love it.
Yeah, I don't know anybody on H or I Street who doesn't love it.
Yeah.
Whole lot of people in Cutton don't like it.
Well, just something changing in Eureka is just kind of amazing.
Yeah, that's so funny. 2 people from Cutton were complaining to me about it. That is hilarious that you said that. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I love it.
I think improved street markings is already on their plan. I don't know that that's really in our wheelhouse. So
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
crossing
think-
that off. Yes, please. We would love for the public to make a
Wait a
comment.
minute, don't we have some Robert's Rules of Orders here
Nah,
or
I
something?
think we're good.
For public comment, you have to push the button that says
Open for public comment.
Okay. Pertaining the
Anarchy reigns.
speeding on H. My name is Randy Carrico, member of the public. This afternoon at about 2:30, we live about a half a block south of Del Norte Street, and 2 cars running side by side in the 2 lanes decided to start a race right in front of our house.
And the kids get out of school. It's a minimum day on Mondays.
Bad thing to
So the kids were getting out of school at the time of this drag race.
So it's,
Fortunately, they all made it.
Yeah, it could have been
so
teenagers.
it was, it is making a big difference, but there are some people still that are.
Thank you, public.
Okay, next one is publicize the huge use of electricity in pumping and treating water and encourage water conservation for both drought and energy savings.
It's almost a little bit like the issue with
understand that.
composting.
But this one I'm
But
confused by because it's not the public that's involved in pumping and treating water, but it seems like we'd be publicizing the information to the public. So
Yeah, it says publicize.
I'm a little confused by this one.
Yeah, especially since we're talking more about. It seems like there's a kind of a question of consumption there that I think is like way outside of what we'd have any control over.
Yeah, I think
You know,
I think, if anything, that could go up under publicize the many energy saving sustainable steps, blah, blah, blah.
okay.
C.
I'll put a little arrow over there. I'll add that to that one.
Because I think a lot of people don't even understand that there is energy used or electricity used in flushing their toilets. That the lift station has to have something to lift or something to power lifting. And the drought reference clearly isn't
yeah.
current, but
well, I think
it
we're
will
still
be
in drought,
again.
but yeah.
Oh, are we?
Well, I don't know that Humboldt County is, but I think the state of California is still in drought.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, I will just add that to the other one because that seems good to throw in. Encourage inspection and replacement of refrigerators and freezers that leak refrigerants, currently being done by RCEA. Okay, so maybe there's a way to work with RCEA to publicize that more. Maybe that was the idea behind this one.
I think that's a good one because leaking refrigerants, most places from air conditioners, but here more from refrigeration, is a huge source of CO2 equivalents. And I think we could follow up with RCEA on that and find out what's going on. I know that new refrigerators and freezers are much more energy efficient and much less leak prone.
That sounds good. We'll leave that on there.
We've had a lot of discussions about ways to encourage better appliance
Yeah.
adaptation. Yeah.
This one sounds great. I just don't know that anybody has money right now for this. So I think we're going to struggle, but I'm going to throw it out there. Advocate for low income subsidies for e-bikes and gear, helmets, basic repair kits, pumps, etc.
Our CEA is doing that now.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we put that with the other one with our
And there are
CEA.
also Infrastructure Act rebates for e-bikes and so forth. So maybe we could publicize what's available through the Infrastructure Act for residential and commercial.
Okay, I just
people.
added those 2 notes on there. We'll leave it. And then recommend more secure places to lock bikes and repair tires, especially at transit hubs. I feel like the Earth Center is going to kind of be part of that, but also
Cross
that's
my
just
fingers
one
on
spot.
that. Yeah.
Okay, let's leave it on there because bicycles are great for the environment. So we'll. Okay, recommend adoption of resolutions already in place in many cities globally, nationally, and locally, recognizing the climate emergency, considering stakeholders of the future rather than just short-term results, and signing on to the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty.
That too was me, and that came from one of those webinars that I attended. And this is something that, in my opinion, we should encourage the council to pass this kind of a resolution.
I agree. I know quite a bit about these resolutions too. I agree with you.
Realistically, it doesn't do a whole lot.
No, I agree. But
once the resolution is passed and on paper, at the very least, we can go back and see, you passed this.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
and over time, it can have impact too.
Yeah.
Use the energy use survey. Did we ever do the energy use survey, or did the energy use survey die with Eddie?
It never went out. I think it was close.
Yeah, it just seemed really long.
It was close for a long time.
Can dig it back out.
So I'm gonna cross it off
Yeah.
unless there's an objection.
I can't imagine how we'd pick it up again without Eddie's
Yeah.
overall
Well,
vision
and
of it.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure how useful it would be, how many people it would get to, what kind of a return we would
Yeah,
get.
I don't know how many people are going to want to respond to that. It was very long. Just being honest.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a survey in another context, and you kind of need the person who thought of it to know what we're even going to do with that data, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree with this. This is kind of a CCOG thing. Advocate for free bus 24/7 from Rio Dell to McKinleyville, hourly or more frequently.
This is currently being promoted by a number of different environmental organizations. A number of people go to HCOG meetings and speak about it. The Humboldt Transit people are very open to doing this. It's a matter of chicken and egg in terms of having enough drivers, being able to pay for running these buses, and getting people back on the bus after COVID. Their ridership is still not back up to what it
makes
was
sense.
before.
But I guess
And-
sorry.
The free part works really, really well in other cities, but it takes some kind of money from the government agencies.
And I'm going to say that because it would be kind of through HCOG, and I don't know about the cities, but I know the county is not in good shape right now, and I know the state's not in good shape right now. So I think we could leave it on the list, but I don't know if that's something we want to attack right away.
Yeah, I think maybe there are other organizations who have a history of working with HCOG, trying to get some of this going. They have a bus to Ukiah for $2 one way.
I've heard about that.
A friend of mine took it from Ukiah up here, spent the weekend with us, and then went back on the bus, and she said it was just fine. The problem at that time was that there was nothing connecting from Ukiah down to the Bay Area. So if you want to go to Ukiah and hang out for an hour and a half before the bus turns around and comes back, you know, you're welcome to. Mendocino County at that time was working to coordinate so that the bus would connect for transportation into the Bay Area, you know, to SFO and places like that. So I don't know whether that's happened or not. But HCOG is working on that.
So do you think it would behoove us to cross this off, or should we keep it on and maybe advocate for some sort of official statement from the Energy Committee to the City of Eureka, encouraging them to
We
encourage
could
the city
keep
to
it on
talk?
and maybe make it a low priority
Okay.
and see what happens.
That sounds good. And then, okay, so for this one, it says codify and enforce Title 24, Section 6. And so we're going to remove codify because it's already codified.
Yay.
Yay! One step done by the state. For enforcement of Title 24, we do have the Title 24 group that's kind of jumped back up, and we're looking into it because it is a very complicated energy bill, and it's great, and it's also a lot. So kind of, I think we'll leave that one on there.
Okay. No, I agree with that.
But we'll take codify off because
Yeah,
that doesn't
sure.
make any sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Encourage help with the last mile micromobility from transit stops to home.
That too is being addressed by these organizations working with HCOG.
Why don't I combine that with the other one?
That
How's that
sounds
sound? Okay. And then I'll hang on. Let me make a note about HCOG for those two. Okay. Publicize neighborhood energy use averages to encourage residents to lower their energy consumption.
That's wild.
I think that would be awesome, but I don't know if that's legal.
It almost.
It works, and
I mean, it feels like a great
PG&E
idea.
will send out with your power bill what the average is for your neighborhood and what your use is.
That's
So maybe that's something we could
So I don't know that.
discuss and try and figure out a way to get the city of Eureka, to, maybe city council, to ask PG&E if that's something they'd be willing to do for Eureka city residents.
Well, they're already doing it.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. The reason I
look at my
know
bill very thoroughly.
my PG&E bill is just every month I get it. I get it online, and I don't look at it because I never have to pay anything. And Randy's aunt passed away in February, and I was going through some of her stuff and found her PG&E bills, and it showed a bar graph. You know, this is the average electricity use, gas use of people in your neighborhood, and this is yours. And I thought, that's kind of cool. And so then I went online and looked at my bill, and yeah, it was there.
Okay. So this is already happening?
So it, you know, we could publicize that it's there, but anybody who looks at their PG&E bill, you know, it might be back a page or two, but anybody who looks at their PG&E
Yeah, I don't know how
bill
we'd
would see-
publicize that, though.
Yeah, I don't know that it's necessary.
All right. I'm going to cross that out.
I'm almost kind of thinking of that in terms of that little map of neighborhoods we have downstairs. if we could throw on like a little like pie chart for who's winning.
I like the idea, but I don't know how we'd publicize
Yeah.
it.
You know, you can win the lobby of the Eureka City Hall, right?
So this was definitely a Nancy one, but I have done a little research on it, and I do like the idea behind this one. Encourage the use of substitute cementitious material, SCM, including permeable material in city-maintained and private projects to reduce the huge greenhouse gas impact of traditional cement. And I think SCM is prohibitively expensive was one of the problems that Nancy mentioned, but I could be wrong.
Well, I think one of the things was that the city is obligated to follow state codes.
Use?
Yeah, is that
I mean,
No,
typically we follow
Nancy.
Caltrans standards because they've been engineered out all the way.
okay?
So we follow a lot of their standards because we don't want to recreate our own and spend money.
But I think SCM falls under those standards.
One of the things that they're doing right now is working very hard to get CO2 out of cement making. Cement is a huge gobbler of CO2. And so they're trying to do versions of cement that use a lot less CO2. So I would think, whoever's in charge of cement, I'm guessing it's not you personally, but I would think that they would be up on some of this stuff. And maybe we could get somebody from the city, from somebody from your department to
I think it'd be Public Works
come
who
and
would deal with that.
because
Discuss the different materials they use. Maybe. I don't know. Let's just leave it on the list for now.
never mind.
I'm
getting the look.
I'm not getting. I'm just trying to understand fully what you want someone from Public Works to come talk about.
No,
We'll
I think-
happily come talk to you, but like the materials that we use is the cement. So if you want to encourage us to use something different, then I can get you like the spec sections we use for what we require contractors to use, and if you want that to change to something different.
Let's put that at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, all I know is that there's a lot of work going on in cement right now to try and get it a little greener, and the permeable cement is a big deal, but it is expensive.
Okay.
And the new cements that are lower CO2, I don't know whether they're more or less expensive.
Do our plants here locally make them?
Pardon me?
Do the plants here locally make them?
Good question.
No idea.
So we'll leave that on the
Then are we
list.
trucking in cement from where? Crescent City, driving them here.
So
Ooh.
it
Very
sounds
good
to me
point,
like
Shay.
anybody who's interested in this can do her own research. Is that what you're saying?
No, it sounds like
Well,
you
no,
should leave
from
it
the
on there
start.
and we can dive into
Yeah.
it. Is where
Yeah.
it's like
No, I don't-
sounding like it's a
Beast.
it's a topic.
Yeah.
It is a topic.
Yeah, let's just leave it on the list.
Yeah.
Okay, electric
What? Can you expand this?
Substitute cementitious material.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I
something
got
else
the-
to use
I got
cement.
the drift, but I didn't understand the acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank
It's
you.
this.
Yeah, I
All
got
right,
it.
I'm
Yeah,
going to
that's
move
good,
on
that's
to
good.
T. Electrify the city fleet more quickly, prioritizing mileage driven, including Eureka Police Department vehicles, and include hybrids where appropriate.
This is endless argument here.
Amen.
I'm leaving it.
Yeah. I was just thinking it might be a better approach to look at it a little bit more piecemeal than we have. Like, it feels like we have this like
We just
impossible goal of electrifying the whole fleet, which we just keep pointing ourselves to that we obviously can't do.
We
But
just added
maybe-
our first track. We now have a Lightning
There we go.
on
Yay.
on fleet.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, and
we are
it says
slowly-
prioritizing mileage driven.
Yeah.
And include hybrids where appropriate. So
Yeah, I think it's good to leave this on here. I love
Yeah.
the presentation that was done. It was awesome.
Yeah, and keeping track of our progress, I think is something. And
Yeah.
it's another thing that we could possibly publicize, I think.
and we can discuss it with the police
Yeah.
chief.
I'm sure the police chief would love to come chat with
I'm
us.
sure he would.
I think
Can put that on our wish list.
just one EPD.
It would be
please.
nice to get at least one EPD vehicle electric.
Well, if they knew
Unrelated to this department.
how fast EVs accelerate,
I know, right?
and there-
man,
And Brian Easta came and gave that presentation, and he's working on it. And right now, EPD's
Hmm.
having the complication of they take all their vehicles home. So how do we charge them?
Yeah.
So
It would be
they're
cheap-
working through that.
it would be
'cause they're,
cheaper to install a
like cards and
car charger at each of their homes.
Well,
yes,
or
yes.
have them
So
drive
how
direct
does
like
that
everyone
work
else.
with taxpayer dollars? And they are trying to figure that
Oh,
out.
interesting
Cool.
question.
Because there are a number of them that could be electric, right?
Yep.
Like Public Works.
No, this is a quick question. Do we know if is it all enterprise leasing for EPD 2, or is that okay? Just okay. So we would run into that whole conversation again too. So
Yeah.
okay,
I put
But
a
there
little,
again, it's chicken and egg. If there's a demand, eventually enterprise is
Right.
going to have to. Anyway,
I agree.
and there is high resale value for EV vehicles. So we answered that question.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just leave it on there. U, recommend implementation of oh, no, we're crossing that out. This is the REACH codes. So just to refresh everybody's memory on REACH codes, the bane of my existence for a while there. So basically, there are REACH codes, but the problem with REACH codes is they cycle with the energy laws. So I think that's every 6 years the energy laws get changed or regulations. So the REACH codes then cycle out. So if you pass a REACH code that's 2 years before the cycle ends, then that REACH code's only good for 2 years. The other complication with REACH codes is you have to already be compliant on everything to really need a REACH code. And with the rate of laws getting passed and regulations on energy, it's hard for cities and counties to stay compliant, let alone surpass. And if we do want to surpass, it actually makes what a lot of cities have discovered is it makes more sense instead of passing REACH codes to actually edit your energy code, because then it stays permanently on the record. You don't have to keep passing them. And of all of the counties and cities that were passing REACH codes, they pretty much all stopped. Because I don't know the exact number, but I know like City of Berkeley stopped, Alameda County, Davis, because of the kind of complications with passing REACH codes. So I am going to cross that out
fatigue
joyfully.
from it, right? I gotcha.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to pass the REACH codes, and then to have them like sunset out quickly is very frustrating for councils and burns them out.
Okay.
So, all right, moving
Well,
on.
I'm glad we looked into it.
Yeah. No, it was good. I learned a lot about REACH codes. Recommend installing solar-powered EV charging in city-owned parking lots. And I feel like, I guess we could leave it on there, but I also feel like this is some actions being taken on it, but we'll leave it on there.
Is there any action being taken on solar-powered? Yeah. I've been
Yeah,
down in the
I was
Bay
thinking EV
Area a
charging,
little
not solar-powered,
more
sorry.
frequently than I wanted to the last couple of months, and they have them all over the place down there. They provide shade, they provide power, and EVs can plug into them. So I think it's a great idea, and I would love to have it, over the City Hall parking lot, over the Adorney Center parking lot.
The lot of like the one next to us here is slated for building, right? Like in the next, where we lease it out, and they're going to build low-income homing. So I think we'd have to find a handful of parking lots that aren't slated for that. I think most of them were.
Well, even
But
over,
we could.
yeah,
yeah, we could look
not
into that.
necessarily over public parking lots, but over unused land. And who knows what parking lots are going to be left, but
Well, the next thing is recommend planning for a city solar microgrid along the lines of County of Humboldt and Blue Lake Rancheria. And I'm thinking we could maybe tie those two together. So we can kind of look at, there could be EV charging if
a
we have
microgrid is considerably bigger than
Yeah, a lot
few
bigger.
solar panels over a parking lot,
All right.
and a lot more expensive.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah, and if we did the solar over the parking lot, where is that going? Are we gonna like put batteries in so that it could be like stored and used for EV charging? Because when our CEA was here last week, right? They talked about how California across the board in the middle of the day is producing more energy than PG&E can do anything with. So are we gonna try and store that energy that we're creating to use for what? What was the end purpose of the parking cover?
What are they doing in San Francisco?
In San
Yeah, what do they? What do you,
I'm an expert on that now.
'cause I feel like nowadays we want to like capture all that in batteries.
Right.
So that
I
can be
don't
used
know.
later.
I don't know if they have battery backup on any of these that I saw. And I parked under one. I didn't charge there, but I noticed that there were charging stations, and I kind of got the idea that these panels were providing power for whatever public building was right there, but I don't know that. They were also providing shade for the cars.
I think that's generally what it is. So I know there's like a Costco in Hawaii that has the solar panels overhead. So it supplies shade, and then it also supplies charging for the building.
That's why I was wondering if we should more push like commercial building parking lots where it's
That
then
would make
being
more
pushed
sense.
to the buildings
Yeah.
or put so they can charge it in batteries at the buildings and using later in the day. So like maybe pushing for businesses and
Right.
to cover their parking lots
Yeah.
and
I like that.
I know the mall has insane like
Well-
utility expenses, but I don't know.
Yeah, and the mall, that would be.
And look at Costco. I mean, their power must be.
And Costco actually in Hawaii does do the solar panels with the shade.
And not
So-
they also have a huge flat roof.
Yep.
Um,
All right.
so
we'll leave
maybe
that on there, but we'll say
in-
commercial buildings.
in commercial, yeah.
We'll leave city-owned parking lots, although validly we may not have any. So.
yeah, we looked at the one for City Hall because we have no roof space. It just
Well, is this parking lot out here safe? No, the one. Which direction am I? The one beside. Yeah, the one right out here.
yeah, it's slated to become housing. So
So there's not gonna be any parking at all at City Hall anymore.
no, yeah. So if depending on how these go, it's on the next docket of ones to be slated
Aha.
for housing. So my brand new EV charging station
Are
will
gonna go
hopefully
away.
just get flipped to the sidewalk. Was the point of putting it there?
Wow.
Because I even put in extra conduits to install 2 more charging stations. But we'll have to cross that bridge when it comes in 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
But we did the solar panel idea out for that reason. Housing was more important at current
That makes
situation.
sense.
And I agree that solar panels without battery backup are not useless, but they're adding to the grid power that doesn't need to be
Yeah,
there.
they're a little bit of a stranded asset, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not as you don't have the rebates and
Yeah.
all of the incentives anymore.
Well, I think we could leave
Yeah.
it. We could get creative with it. But we could also maybe just tie it into the other solar stuff that we have here. Do we have anything else on solar on this list?
I don't think so.
Well, maybe we'll make that a broader solar category instead of the specific one.
We have a rooftop restaurant now. We do have carports with solar.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Oh, the solar microgrid. Do we want to leave it on there and just maybe deprioritize it because that is a lot of money?
Yeah, I'm not even sure where we'd start investigating that even.
Yeah.
Or where we'd put it.
Yeah. Same. So we'll leave it on there as a wish list thing, but maybe just lower on the list. Okay. So I will send this out and to Kelly with the edits, and then. Do we want to vote on prioritizing it, or do we just want to?
It's not on the agenda. Can we vote on it?
Oh no, not today. Sorry. After, like, Kelly will send it out. I'll send it to Kelly, the edits, and then Kelly will send it out to everybody, and then maybe at our next meeting we could vote on prioritizing.
Which will be in.
Are we doing the July 1st meeting? Because last year, what happened, to refresh folks' memory, is that we said we were doing it and then no one showed up. So I don't want that to happen again. That sucked.
Yes. So City Hall will be closed on that 4th, which is Thursday. But otherwise, yeah, I'm here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's like an odd one for this
Okay.
holiday.
Um.
So if you guys feel like you're not going to be here,
Yeah,
would be
that's kind of what I'm getting
helpful.
at. If folks feel like they're not going to be here, I really don't want.
Yeah, the 4th is not until Thursday, so.
True, but it's July and I get nervous. I just don't want our folks that work their butts off for us to have to be here, and we all don't show up. So if everybody can let Kelly know in the next week, that would be awesome. Instead of in 3 weeks.
and then we can put it on the August meeting if we aren't going to be here in July.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
sounds good.
so a earlier reminder email and
Yeah.
make sure you're on it. Okay.
Kelly, do you
I
mind
agree.
sending out an email this week reminding folks after I send you the edited list?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have
Thank
the
you.
Word version, or did I only send you the PDF?
I don't remember, but
I'll double check.
I
That
have a
way-
PDF editor, so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
I can edit it.
Yep.
Okay. So did we go down the whole list there?
We did. That's the list.
Okay. Do we want to?
Do we want to add anything?
That's I was about
Yeah.
to say.
I was going to ask that, and then I kind of forgot.
I have a couple things I've been thinking about investigating. Seems like we have, more stuff to think about there than I thought. I know there was a story about Ithaca, New York, being kind of like doing a lot of like trying to get really ahead of their energy transition. And I was going to kind of, research what they're up to, see if there's anything interesting that we might consider possibly
Okay.
investigating.
I don't think we need to put that on the list, but that sounds great if you want to research that. And also, if you find an article on it that gives details, you can always send that to Kelly. She can send it out to folks on the committee.
Okay, sure thing. So
One of the webinars included Ithaca and Half Moon Bay and another small town. And what they all had was a director of sustainability,
interesting.
where it was that person's job. And we don't have that.
Well, given we've have kind of a lot of difficulty having a committee, trying to throw more administrative roles. I don't know.
No, not on the committee.
Not on the committee.
City staff.
Oh, I see.
Like a paid position.
Yeah, somebody whose primary job is sustainability instead of everybody else's other duties as assigned.
Interesting.
Kelly, looking for a new job?
But look at Jessica. Her hand's begging to go up.
That sounds awesome. I just don't think that we get to hire people. So
Yeah.
No, that's something that we, the idea was recommending it.
recommending it.
But that's part of the
right, I'll
cap
put it on the
problem
list.
too, is that they seem to be having difficulty committing to having someone actually in charge of doing it, a staff person
For the city of Eureka, or are you saying for the
for
county?
the cap, for the county and associated cities.
Ah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be one. Yeah, person or one force.
all right. Anything else that anyone can think of?
So there is this situation where a lot of people, because net metering went away, a lot of people kind of feel, I guess, left in the lurch by that. Like they had looked into getting solar or batteries, and then it turns out they can't get those paid for. So I guess I was interested in maybe talking to some of those folks and sort of figuring out like where they're at.
That seems like a can of worms, and also that's a PG&E issue. I don't know how we could affect that.
It's a state issue. The
Net
state,
metering is PG&E.
but the state is the one who's taking away all of the incentives.
Well,
And up until April 1st of last year, 2023, you could get the net energy metering. Since April 1st, you can't.
okay. So to throw it out there, if we talk to people about this and they have problems, what are our solutions?
We don't have any right now.
Okay.
And the solar installers in the area are laying people off, are trying desperately to find other means of making money. It's a disaster. And I don't think we have any control over that at all.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that has to do with the deficits, and I think we're
It
also
has to do that just rich people get solar.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Also, no, I mean like the lack of funds to hand out to people has to do with the massive deficits.
But there are funds through the Infrastructure Act, and that's something that I think we're not publicizing.
So I don't know how to write this up.
Frankly, I don't think there's much we can do about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Well,
I don't want to
right.
open a can of worms that we can't help people on. It just kind of, that's rough.
Yep.
And that could result in the city of Eureka getting a lot of complaints that they wouldn't get otherwise, which I don't
Well,
think they'd appreciate.
RCEA is also trying desperately to distance themselves from PG&E because they're getting a lot of grief about the rate increases and every week a new rate increase. and all of the solar incentives going away, and people call RCEA and they're furious. And
Well, and also PG&E did the thing, I think, where like schools can't even
Right.
get their own, use
Yeah.
their own solar energy.
yep,
Yeah, PG&E got
everybody's favorite
the state
utility.
of California to like pass something basically saying it wasn't just schools, it was other things as well. I want to say apartment buildings,
Hospitals and
hospitals,
yeah.
schools are no longer allowed to use the solar energy that they create or get paid for it. So basically they just have to give it to PG&E for free. There's a lot of
PUC,
people fighting that right now.
Yep.
For sure, but it's happening.
but we can't do much about it.
But we can't do anything about that. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. PG&E, gotta love them. I did think of one, and now I don't remember what it was. Oh well, should have written it down. What was it?
May I make a suggestion that over the next couple of weeks, we go over this list and think about things we might want to add and send them to Kelly so that we'll have them written down. And since we're not voting on this right now, we can add them to the,
That sounds excellent. And just as a quick reminder, make sure you're sending it just to Kelly. We don't want to get into a Brown
Right,
Act
no,
violation.
everything goes
So
through
yeah,
Kelly.
just send it straight to Kelly, and maybe like once Kelly sent out the list to folks, you can do a reply and ask for things added. And Kelly, if you want to add them on there, great. Otherwise, you can just forward me everything, and I will tack it on and then send it back to you. Okay, so I just got Director of Sustainability out of that conversation, which I think we're going to be seeing positions cut pretty uniformly. So I think we're going to struggle to get people to put new
well,
positions
I would
up,
like
but-
to keep Director of Sustainability on there
Oh, yeah, I definitely do.
because
It's on there.
squeaking wheel.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I think that's everything. Title 24 has nothing new to report. And just a friendly reminder to everyone, definitely make sure to let Kelly know if you're going to be here July 1st. If enough of us aren't, it'd be good to cancel ahead of time. And I think that's everything. We are adjourned.
Okay.
Unless anybody, public. All right, public comment closed.